The interesting thing is that there is in the next dimension, right? This is where we have the ability to, in the fourth dimension or fourth level of density, we have the ability to start creating miracles. And I'm gonna talk to you about how we do that for real.
You have so much. You have so much to teach people. I'm just thinking because so I forgot to tell people at the beginning, we've got people jumping online in about half an hour because you're going to teach this, we're going to make some miracles happen. And
we're going to do it.
We're going to do it. But there's so much to talk about. So that's third dimension. What's fourth dimensional reality? How does it look to live fourth dimensionally, fourth density in this?
Okay.
How does that look?
You got to accentuate the positive. Wow, I feel good. A little bit of feel good goes a long way.
You're listening to KAren Swain, teacher of Deliberate Creation, accentuating the positive, showing you a way to a better life.
Accentuating the positive, it's not this fad, it's sanity. Who in their right mind would accentuate anything else?
If you feel like that's what you want to do.
Hello and welcome to another show, Accentuating the Positive with KAren Swain. So great to have you with us again. I have an exciting guest to introduce you to today. I'm so excited about Bill coming online. His name is Bill McKenna. He's got his bio here. He's best known for teaching a method to perform miracles, nearly miracle instant healings. Do we call them healings or manifestations? He's also the author of The Only Lesson, which is the detailed and intense spiritual awakening, his story about that, which we'll go into a bit on the show. And you were a helicopter pilot, or you are an adventurer, a marathon runner, survived a near-death experience from a skydiving accident, which I'd like to talk about. And oh my God, and you've spoken at the International Association for Near-Death Studies so much, Bill. Welcome to the show. So great to have you with us.
Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
I have to tell you a little bit about Bill. We connected on Skype, as I do with all my people that come on the show, just to connect and see them. And, usually I just, suss them out, who they are, and Bill's like, well, who are you? And tell me your story. And I'm like, wow, this rarely happens. When you invite people to come on your show, people are like, oh yes, it's all about what I've got to offer and who I am and my healing technique, my story. And rarely does anyone ever ask me about me. And I tell you what, Bill, I knew you were special right from the get-go when you said that. You said something really funny. You said, well, I know about me. I don't need to know about me, but I don't know about you. Tell me about you. so thank you for that. That's showing.
And you are very interesting.
that just shows you're truly a person in service, because we're all in service, but sometimes our little ego gets in the way and we make it all about us and what we've got to offer. And I really feel that we're all in this game together. And so we need to share each other's stories. So it's beautiful to have another person online who likes sharing stories. But I want to share your story to start with. So tell me about this adventurous life and how it led to your spiritual awakening. What led you to be so adventurous?
Oh, that was just innate when I grew up. I had, I guess, I don't know what I would call it, but enjoying the kind of adventures in life. I enjoyed running and the accomplishment of it. I did the bunch of marathons, and then I did the Western States 100 at the time. It was a 100-mile run in the Sierra Nevadas here in the mountains. I got my black belt and studied martial arts for probably 35 years. I studied all kinds of different styles and that sort of thing. Ended up learning to fly airplanes and helicopters, bought a few helicopters and had a lot of fun adventures all over, here in Mexico. And
so tell me something. We've got a few issues with the internet as usual. Just ask the mob to back away from the computer. Are you still doing all that, or is this new adventure into our abilities and manifestation as exciting as jumping out of planes and flying at helicopters? Or are you still doing that as well?
I still enjoy those other things, although, now I have a daughter, and so I don't really have the time or kind of doing those other, physical things as much as I used to.
Yeah.
One of the things that I ended up, I bought a yacht, back in mid 2000s, and I was northbound from Mexico to back to the United States, and I ended up wrecking the yacht in of Mexico, pivoting, right, where everything changed, and it was just simply the forcing me to stop, which I had to stop here in San Diego, California, for about 9 months, and that's when the real adventure began, which was I ended up calling up an old girlfriend of mine who I loved her. I wanted to marry her, but we couldn't get along, and so I really wanted to make an effort. I was stuck here in San Diego for 9 months, while the yacht was getting repaired, and I I wanted to make it work. So what I did is one of the things I noticed about her, what am I thinking? And it's an orange. Now it's a lemon. And I was like, lemon? I don't even like lemons. Don't put lemon on my chicken. Nothing. So I ended up figuring out that she was extremely intuitive. Psychic. So this was something that was happening on a minute by minute basis all day long, with the odds of whatever she is coming up with being trillions to one. So in a nutshell, what I did was I got like 15 different books. I started reading all about intuition and psychic development so that I could maybe better understand her. And in the process of reading all these books, they all said the same thing, which was, they said, well, anybody can do it. Everybody has the ability, but there are certain things that keep you from it. And one of those things that keeps you from it was forgiveness, right? Yeah, or another way to put it, resentments, because resentments are very dense. They have a dense frequency. When you resent somebody, you really feel it in your body. And love or joy, bliss, kind of being on the opposite scale, is the absence of that, right? And so kind of narrowing the gap, right? These intuitive things can be more easily accessed higher up the scale, so closer to love. So anyway, I started forgiving, because I thought, well, if she's got that and what she did, if I can have what she had, I could do the stock market, I could do all kinds of things, it'd be really great. Very selfish, right? Completely freaking selfish.
But that's the human condition. It's the human condition. It's like, yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. So there I was, I was like, okay, well, I didn't really want to, and I had heard, hey, you've got to forgive, and all this stuff, I was Catholic, and, but I never did. So anyway, now I had a real reason to, in earnest. And so I did. And I did it in earnest, even though, I had to go through the process of figuring that out. And I forgave everyone. My father was the first one. He was an alcoholic. He was a traditional Irish Catholic father, alcohol abuse and those sorts of things.
I don't think the traditional Irish Catholics would like that. Would like that version.
But they will laugh.
He liked his drink.
Yes.
You had to forgive your dad because you wanted to develop your psychic abilities. And you read in a book that forgiveness helps you. I love that.
It does, but I didn't know how much. So, but I did it. I did it, and it worked. It worked. But at the same time, I had the experience of my, what they call my crown opening. I had no idea what a chakra was. I had no idea. So the experience of having this chakra opened, which is what all the gurus and everybody meditating is trying to do, having it instantaneous, going from a very kind of low frequency, right? By low frequency, I mean, anger, fear, desire, craving, that type of realm, to the realm of love, joy, and forgiveness. These sorts of things. It was a drastic jump, and it was overwhelming.
What did it feel like for you when you had that experience of your crown chakra opening? So this is when you forgave in earnest.
Yes.
Mm.
So I literally, and I mean not figuratively, literally felt drunk. And I felt drunk. I felt it was as if I had maybe 6-8 beers, but I still could talk. Sometimes it got so bad that it felt like morphine. If anybody has had that. It felt like there was a band around my head, like this, right here, and all of this was like have you ever had a fly land on your hair and you feel them wiggling around, on your hair? The entire head felt like there was, 1,000 flies wiggling around on your head. Yeah. And a feeling also of, I was crying all the time. But it wasn't out of like sadness. It was just kind of things joyful, right? And things, I would see beauty, and I would see things I had never noticed before.
Yeah.
And the synchronicities and intuition. There was the other physical aspect was the feeling of like a hole on the top of your head, like there's a hole, but then there's circles, or there's like a vortex, or like a opening, and then all of this was just buzzing. And yeah. So that was what it was like for me that happened. And that went on. It's still going on today, but now it's been 10 years. It's right about 10 years now. But you can imagine being drunk, 724. It just went away after, meaning I'm used to it. It's just the new normal, if you will. So it eventually just became the new normal.
The power of forgiveness. I remember I was, listening to a lot of Esther Hicks in my 30s. And like you, I was wanting to expand my intuitive and healing abilities because I was discovering a lot of energy healing workshops. And my ex-husband wasn't paying maintenance. And I was really angry because he should, because this is his daughter, right? And he has a responsibility and he should be responsible. It's not up to me to do all the blah, 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 blah. You remember, that story?
Yes.
And I remember reading that I am the vortex through which my abundance comes, and I've got to let him off the hook. And so I did. He came over one day and I just let him off the hook. And I said, you know what? Go off and contemplate your navel. Do whatever you want to do with your life. You're off the hook. You don't need to support us. You don't need to pay maintenance. I'm going to give up trying. That's a form of forgiveness, just letting someone off the hook.
Yes.
And like you, when he left, I had this visceral feeling of being light. Like I was drunk and floating on air. Oh, such an amazing feeling. That power of forgiveness. That was just one of the many. Because I think that when we go through our journeys, it doesn't happen once. You just have to keep doing it. For all those grievances and all those things you're upset about, you have to let them go, let them go, let them go.
Yes. Well, I, like most people, didn't realize the benefits, right?
Yeah.
Before, for 40 plus years of my life, there was no benefit. The benefit was in in holding on to the resentment. It was like, oh, I'm going to get to control. I get to be right. I get to, hold people accountable. All those different things. Was my, where my head was at, because I saw no benefit in forgiving. And I think that kind of segue into what I realized is that, or one of the things that I realized was that we will change our mind when we see something better, when we have a realization that, you know what, it's better for me. And it's quite simple, right? If there's something better in it for you, and the problem is that it's a leap of faith, right? I hear that forgiveness is good, but why would I ever, Well, okay, here, if you do, maybe you're going to become more intuitive, and maybe you'll be able to manifest at a faster pace, or all kinds of different things.
Yeah.
But these are actual real repercussions, which I never would have believed in a million years. I wasn't at all intuitive before. So anyway, sorry, go ahead.
And so when you sort of let go of the resentments and you started to expand, did you match your girlfriend's intuitive abilities? Did you sort of come to her level? Did you start to understand what it's like to be?
Yeah, I did. One of the aspects of it was she was constantly in pain.
Right.
And I was like, my gosh, I need to put this girl on a morphine drip, because she's hurting constantly. It's her stomach, it's her eye, it's this, it's that, this hurts, that hurts. It's all day long. And I didn't understand it. And after I started learning about this stuff, I became to understand that it wasn't her pain.
Right.
She was picking up everybody else's pain. If they had a bad feeling or a bad thought, or something, they were even angry at somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
It would physically hurt her.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't even realize it. But after getting some training and understanding, I was able to teach her how to separate, right? How to create a separation in between you and the other person.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that, and I'll share this with your audience, because, I like to give them anything I have, that might be of benefit. There's probably people on the phone that are, I'm watching the interview, that are very intuitive, and they find they're in a lot of pain. And one of the things that they can do is notice differences. For example, if you were in pain, let's say your knee hurts, and then my knee starts to hurt, all I have to do is notice, okay, I'm bald. She's got beautiful blonde hair. She's wearing glasses. I'm not wearing glasses. Okay, that's a woman. I'm a man. Okay, I'm wearing a blue shirt. She's wearing a sweater, or something there. So if I notice 5 differences, what'll happen is, boom, the pain goes away. Because in noticing differences, I create separation, right? That's my, and the closer I get to becoming one with you, for a lot of us, will experience their pain. So it's just an easy trick, and your pain will go very quickly. Sometimes you won't even realize who is it that's in this pain. But if you ask around what's going on with people in the, that you're physically around, it may be that they're angry. If you have somebody in the room that's angry and then you start to get in pain, just start noticing the differences in between you, and the pain will be like gone that fast.
That's brilliant. I'm just thinking about, years ago, I heard this guru talking about how when we identify something, we actually separate from it, because the truth is that we're all one. But when we identify something, when I say you're Bill, you're a man, I'm a Karen, I'm a woman, when we put labels on something, we create separation. Yes. And that's exactly what you're saying. So
yes.
Yes. Wow. Okay. Wow. Mm-hmm. I've never heard it spoken like that. Mm-hmm.
So So basically, I ended up experiencing the exact same thing. I
Right.
would be at work or wherever, and there'd be a problem going on, and I was in another office, but I don't even know I'm on the headset, and I can get in extreme pain. My call's over, and I come out and I find out, oh, there's a big problem. And I'm like, oh my gosh, oh, it hurts so bad. so anyway, I've got to experience not only the intuitive aspects, but also what it's like to be an empath as well.
Yeah.
And then not only that, but how to control it and how to help other people to control control your gift versus your gift controlling you.
Yeah.
So if that makes sense.
Look, absolutely. I have this conversation a lot on the show because I went through that as well. And I'm watching my daughter go through it too, as an incredibly empathic, intuitive young woman suffering. She's going through suffering. But here's the thing. When you are loving or empathic, you feel like your sympathy helps people. If I cry with you, that will help you. But it brings your vibration to a match of the level of the person that you're trying to help. And actually, you can't help anyone in that sad place. Like if you're sad, I'll get sad with you. So when you bring your vibration down to their level, you're just picking up all their sadness and their pain, and you're actually no use to them. So keeping we're going to talk more about this because this is what your healing is based on, that detachment. Having a detachment, an emotional detachment, like not caring about an outcome, being detached, loving but detached is actually how to be an empathic person and not suffer.
So it is in the, quite simply, it is in the purity, right, that will be able to help that other person.
Yeah.
As you well put, two down does not mean you're helping bring them up. You're both down. If you stay up, you can bring the other person up.
Yeah.
So that's so anyway. What kind of to once I had kind of gone through this experience of awakening, and I had a lot of realizations, and I had a lot of help. I had help from not only the hundreds of books that I read, but also I had the good fortune of running into a lot of different masters that are still here on this earth that helped me a lot. They taught me different things, and things I thought would be impossible became kind of my new reality.
Yeah.
So one of those things is that I ended up being able to piece together a puzzle. One master had taught me about dimensions, the third dimension, fourth and fifth dimension, and the characteristics of it. And I learned about our ego from a different one, and time and its relative nature to dimensions. And so I'll just kind of wanted to give the audience the information that I have in order that they could perform. I know it's going to sound just totally ridiculous, but by the end of the program, you'll be able to perform your first miracle.
Yeah.
So if it's okay, can I go into that?
Yeah, I'd like to talk about dimensions and how you see them, but but go into the it's not really a healing technique, because when I saw you on Gaim TV, you're speaking about it like I teach deliberate creation. It's more a manifestation technique. It's about using your power, the power of your mind and focus and attention and the powers that we have, rather than trying to heal something. Anyway, but please go on.
Good. Wonderful. Okay. So there's, in just a little bit you said right there, there's so much. I can't wait to share. So the third dimension, right, is and you could look at this maybe as dimension, or you can look at it as density. So this third level of density, and this is what the overwhelming majority of the world is in right now. It's characterized by, first and foremost, conditional love. So that's the first thing that you'll notice in this dimension. And I always like to use the romantic love is something that worldwide that everybody is after, right? We all want romantic love, and romantic love by its very nature is conditional, right? We're fine as long as I don't get home and you got 3 other guys in the bed with you.
Yeah,
now
yeah.
we got a problem. Now
Yeah,
wait,
yeah.
now my love shuts down, right?
Yeah.
I have to go find a new romantic love, right? So the nature of romantic love being conditional and therefore manipulative. Romantic love can become unconditional, fairly uncommon, but it can happen, which it transforms into something else. But the nature of the third dimension being laws, rules, regulations, it's the home of institutions of all kinds, religious institutions, government institutions, judicial systems, school systems. They all have laws, rules, regulations, and not good enough yet, right? So right and wrong, very clear delineations, judgment. You're seeing the world in judgment, right? People in this dimension feel as if things are happening to me or by me through a force of will, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the other aspect of this dimension is we have time, and time is linear time. And by linear time, I mean there's a clock on the wall. Tick tock, 1 second, 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, right? And we all agree to this, that is the case. So it's these things are actually true in this dimension. We have little to no ability. When I say little, I mean never. I don't want to say absolutes, but little ability to create a miracle in the third dimension. In the third dimension, we're looking outside of ourselves. We're praying, oh, please, 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 somebody up there, help me with this, get better or whatever it might be. So,
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Am I making sense?
Well, yeah, I'm going through this right now. I've had 2 sick girls at home. One's my niece, one's my daughter, and my niece is quite sick, and her mum was over here yesterday. And it's like, go to the doctor. I'm going to take you to the doctor. I'm going to take you to the specialist. And I'm just thinking about interviewing you this morning and running down the stairs and thinking, that power to help ourselves is completely outside of ourselves when we get sick. It's like that's how we think. And that's what you're talking about, third dimension. There is no power within me to actually help myself. I need to go to a doctor. Like, right. I need to go to someone. And
Yes.
that feeling of helplessness to actually affect change in your own body is a very third dimensional construct. It's
Yes. Mm-hmm. So interestingly enough, our ego plays really closely into all this. Our ego in the third is really active in the third dimension. So my ego presents itself in 3 ways. Wanting, I want to get better. Thwarted wanting, I feel like horrible.
Yeah, I feel like crap.
Indifference. And this goes.
Sorry, what was the third one?
Indifference.
Okay.
So this is my ego, and I like to use that. I came up with a new example that I like to use because it illustrates that we all jump in between all 3 of these on a daily basis, minute by minute. Just a simple trip to the grocery store. You go to the grocery store because you want something, right? That's a first first place of our ego. Now you get to the grocery store and you came, let's say you came for detergent and there's no detergent. Okay, now you're upset. I didn't get what I want. It's thwarted wanting. Now, by the way, there's all these people in the store. Now, they're passing by you and you're completely indifferent. You don't even notice. You couldn't even describe what they're wearing other than that hot person that just walked by and you go, oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, don't turn your head. Just look at your side eye. You go, look. Oh, look at that. Wanting. Now you want. You're like they're coming by you on the next aisle, and you go, gosh, I sure would like them to smile at me. And so, they didn't smile. Maybe they looked, didn't do what you want. Now you didn't get what you want, and you got a feeling about that. I'm unworthy. Thwarted wanting, right?
Uh-huh.
So all through the grocery store. This is a simple trip to the grocery store. You jump in between thwarted wanting and indifference the whole way. And every interaction with everybody contains these three things. That's my ego.
Uh-huh.
The interesting thing is that there is in the next dimension, right?
Uh-huh.
This is where we have the ability to, in the fourth dimension or fourth level of density, we have the ability to start creating miracles. And I'm gonna talk to you about how we do that for real. Real.
You have so much. You have so much to teach people. I'm just thinking because so I forgot to tell people at the beginning, we've got people jumping online in about half an hour because you're going to teach this. We're going to make some miracles happen, and we're going to do it. But there's so much to talk about. So that's third dimension. What's fourth dimensional reality? How does it look to live fourth dimensionally, fourth density in this world? How does that look?
Okay, I'm going to go backwards for a minute because I want to talk about levels of consciousness.
Okay.
So Dr. David Hawkins did some wonderful work in this. So I also got new understandings from Dr. David Hawkins. So Dr. David Hawkins, he has this map of the levels of consciousness. Now, I was always confused. What the heck is consciousness? I didn't, what? In a different way to express this is that consciousness can be looked at as the understanding that I've come to thus far in my life. So for me, for example, prior to all of this awakening, my level of consciousness was somewhere around fear, anger, and desire or craving, right? So I spent, and the thing about this map of the level of consciousness, there's all kinds of levels, right? It starts off at shame, humiliation, grief, guilt, anger, and then I think fear, and fear is first, anger, and desire, which is craving, and it goes up from there to forgiveness and love and unconditional love, joy, bliss, enlightenment. So I'm really cursory because we only have so much time. Everybody can Google it. You can see these if you hit the images. But my point is that in every level, for example, let's take fear. When my understanding is that there's so many things to be afraid of out there, right? Then I'll be constantly looking for those things to be afraid of, and it validates me. And anybody who's not afraid is like, oh man, you're just stupid. Have you watched the news? Swine flu, nuclear, North Korea, something. Something's going to get you. So let's say anger. When I was at the level of anger, I'd look and find and see antagonists everywhere, right? So So this appeared real, right? I saw threats, right, everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
In every level, there are benefits to it, and it appears as very real. So just as much as that, the resentments level, right, for me was real and had benefits to it, so does the level of forgiveness, right? So every level is real, and it has its own benefits. It's just we didn't understand what the level is and what the benefits are of getting there.
Mm-hmm.
When we get up into the realm of unconditional love, joy, bliss, and it's just about that level, what happens is the miraculous becomes commonplace. So you asked, what's it like to be in the fourth dimension? So in the fourth dimension, well, first I'll back down. What does it feel like in the third? What it feels like is shame, guilt, humiliation, anger, resentment, the feeling of everything happening through force, right?
To you, yeah. I'm just getting this song, "Constant Craving." Katie Lang, "Constant Craving." That's what it feels like in the third dimension. Constant craving.
Yes, that is wanting, right? That's my ego.
Wanting, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. So, so in the fourth dimension, the very first, when you get into the fourth dimension, what you do is the very first thing is you go from conditional love to unconditional love. So you end up having choices and options, right? Your optimism, gratitude, joy, having choices versus reactions. In the third dimension, everything is reaction, right? My focus in the third dimension is I'm thinking about the future or I'm thinking about the past, and what is happening right now is happening to me because of habit. I'm reacting out of habit or just having reactions to whatever's going right now, right? In the fourth dimension, time becomes malleable,
Mm-hmm.
and my focus is on now.
Mm-hmm.
So paradox, right? The release of having firm rules, no longer making people wrong. So looking without judgment. You're observing what's going on without being judgmental about it. That does not mean that you don't have discernment. You need discernment to know how far is that car ahead of you so you don't ram into them, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can still discern, right? But you're not making others wrong and you right? So
this judgment versus discernment or observation is a thing that a lot of people grapple with. We were having this conversation at dinner last night. My girls were saying, I'm very critical. And I'm saying, there's a difference between criticizing and observing something. When you're empathic and you say that you observe that somebody's you observe something about how someone is, like, I made a judgment or an observation about someone, but then she took that as a criticism, like, they're a very angry person, you could say. Is that a criticism, or is that or are you observing, or are you being discerning based on what you're feeling? Do you know what I mean?
So one of the things that happened along the path, right, that one master had helped me with, was that it's not what people say to me, it's what I say to myself after that gives it its meaning. So you have here in the United States, we call it flipping people off. Well, it's, we have, so I know this is worldwide, but we're saying something that's not so nice to somebody, right? in every country it's a little bit different. But the example is that when someone here in the United States, let's say, had flipped me off, and there'd been times when I would react to it very hostilely, right? But there's other times when they had the exact same intention, which was up yours, and I laughed about it.
Yeah.
Because it's not what their intention was the same. They both meant it. But what I was saying to myself after is what gave it its meaning.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So the person who takes offense is actually the person that has the power to change it, right? And it happens in a nanosecond. We think it's the other person and what they said, but it's actually what I said to myself. I could turn around and say, oh gosh, let's say you said I was very angry and that stuff. I could say to myself, yeah, that's, how could she, blah, 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 blah. Or I could just say to myself, well, she hasn't taken the time to get to know me yet. Maybe we should take some time and get to know each other better or something like that, whatever it might be.
Or you could say,
but
yeah, you're right. I do get angry a lot. I really need to work on that.
Maybe you can help me with that.
Maybe you can help me with that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Can you help me with this? Yeah. So that was where that kind of went for me in that lesson of that. As soon as I understood that put the onus back on me.
Yeah.
And I was also able to heal a lot of things. And one of the ways that I was able to heal it is in that the understanding of that everything is connected, and that it's all kind of one big circle, meaning I put it out there and somebody else brings it back to me. And I know when somebody else is bringing it back to me, that if I'm having a reaction, not a choice, but a reaction, a bad feeling, I write the letter, somebody else, and I send it to Joe Blow. Sally Sue returns it to me years later. The example, I have tons of examples of this in my life, and it's a methodology for very high speed growth. And that is, whatever the issue is that you're faced with, that the person that really made you mad recently, is you stop and you first of all notice everyone else that had ever done something like that to you, meaning you felt the same way about. Maybe they betrayed you. Maybe they lied to you. Maybe they stole something. Who knows what it is? But whatever it is for you, there's more than one person who's done it to you. Now, once you notice that all these people have done it to you, as I ask 3 words: have I ever? And if you allow yourself to capture the essence of it, and you say, well, no, not on I never stole a red car that was a, red Mercedes. I never did that. Never stole a red Mercedes ever. No. And mine's a red Mercedes. Well, okay. But have you stolen some other stuff? Once you understand that was a return to sender, and
law of attraction. Yeah.
Yes. And as soon as you understand it, is that knowing that everything's connected, the ending of your karma is the changing of your mind. Yeah. And what do I mean by that?
Brilliant.
It means simply, I'm not going to do this to anybody, anytime, anywhere, anymore for any reason, because I know how it feels. It always feels like a grain of sand when I do it to somebody else. And it feels like a mountain when it's coming at me, that somebody else has done it.
Brilliant. Say that again. The end of your karma is the change of your mind. Is that what you said?
Correct. The ending of your karma is the changing of your mind.
Now, what I want to do is I want to go to the supermarket in the 4th dimension.
So in the
let's
fourth
go to,
dimension,
yeah.
on the fourth dimension, you end up finding all the stuff that you need, and synchronistically, all kinds of other things happen in the grocery store. You end up having experiences that you end up affecting somebody's life dramatically in a positive way, or you get affected in a positive way as well. So these type of things become very commonplace in the grocery store. You no longer want, but your intuition now is guiding you through the store. Instead of the brand you normally bought, you said, no, you know what, this other brand is working better for me. I'm going to try something new over here. So yeah, you find that people will respond to you better too. And this is because of a result of that. In the fourth dimension, love for self starts to emerge. In the third dimension, the search for love is outside of you.
Yes.
It is. That's why romantic love is so popular in the third dimension. It is because you want, right? You're wanting, and in the fourth dimension, you start to search for this love inside of you. Another tip for your watchers is I have a video on YouTube, and it's called The Only Lesson Method 1, and it's about self-love, and there's that realization alone can help to propel you into that fourth dimension. The self-love is I never understood it, but it's merely think of the person that you love non-romantically and let yourself feel the feeling for them, and then give it to you, that feeling. Just as simple as that. And it's not a thought, it's a feeling. So anyway, on to kind of, I know we don't have much time here, but so I want to make sure that I explain how to for everybody to utilize these things I've discovered, so that they can actually do their first miracle. So in the fourth dimension, right, we actually have the ability to create miracles fairly quickly. And by quickly, I mean within minutes. So the way this works is that all we need to do is be in a state where we're unattached to an outcome. This is another way of putting this is it's unconditional. Unconditional means unattached to an outcome. So, and we see the person as perfect, right? I'm going to take physical pain. I'm going to start with physical pain because it's so obvious and it works. And when you learn how to do this, you'll be able to apply it to many, many things. I don't know that we have time in this interview. I'll be happy to do another interview to explain it all.
Well, we're running out of time. What we might do is explain it when people jump on. But because what I'd like to explore is your near-death experience, because you jumped out of a plane and died.
Well, yeah, I did, but I did jump out of a plane, and I did nearly die. I spent about a month in the hospital, and kind of a series of lemony snickets, a series of unfortunate events, and I broke my spine, but they put me all back together, and I'm all right.
But when you were healing,
but I did not. Just so you know, I didn't have what they call a true NDE,
right,
where people they go to the light and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But my book, the reason that I ended up speaking all of these chapters of the International Association for Near-Death Studies, some of the people there got my book, and they had start telling people that my book is all the lessons from a near-death experience. So meaning that you don't have to have a near-death experience in order to have to get all the new understandings and to have the experience of all the natural things that come out of it. Psychic development, your knowing, your understanding of life from a new perspective, these sorts of things. So,
but what I'm interested in, because when your body is broken, when you're in pain, the hardest thing to do is, what you're going to teach us is to focus on not being in pain, because the pain gets so much of our attention, and we keep perpetuating the problem by like, oh, I don't feel good, oh, I'm in pain, oh, this hurts, oh, I'm broken. So we keep creating the same reality over and over again as we're focusing on it. And that's really what illness does, because it feels so bad, or grief, or anger, or rage, or loss in any way, because it feels so bad, it gets all of our attention. And our attention, where attention goes, energy flows. So did you use this technique of seeing yourself healed, being unattached? Because when you're inside the pain, being unattached to the outcome is another challenging thing to do. I won't say it's impossible, but it's definitely challenging. Did you use it?
Yeah, just quite specifically, my skydiving accident, I had absolutely no concept of any of this. I was still very firmly entrenched in the third dimension. Right. I would be a poster child for the third dimension. So
as we all are.
Yeah. So I didn't learn about this until even after the book was published, The Only Lesson. So, but I have used it on myself. What I tell people is that it's easiest to start with someone else. Right. And you got to kind of get your training wheels, on, so you can get into the zone. And once you kind of understand how this works, and to do it on somebody else, and you do a lot of them, then you're like, oh, it's so easy to do it to yourself. Having said that, in some of my seminars, people literally do it to themselves while I'm talking, and they haven't even done it to anybody else, and boom, they get it. So I'm not saying everybody can do it. I know for me, it took me a little bit longer to do it to myself. I had to practice on other people first.
Do you think that's the judgment that we're holding on ourselves that keeps us, so if we're trying to visualize ourselves as different to what we see in the mirror or how we're feeling, do you think our judgment about ourselves, our self-critical thoughts, keeps us from visualizing a different aspect of ourselves, a better, a healthier?
Yes. The answer directly, absolutely. And so I'll explain why. So when we go to do one of these healings, whether it's on ourselves or someone else, let's say that the person that actually, I'll use some examples. One person, they had horrible neuropathy, had it for 35 years. He was a diabetic and, probably pushing over 300 pounds. And what I did is I simply, there's a circuit of energy in my body, and I put the tip of my tongue to the roof of my mouth. And that tip of my tongue to the roof of my mouth closed the circuit of energy in my body. You don't have to do that. I'm going to call it a turbo booster. But what you do is you merely see the person, I did, perfect, and want nothing. Now, I did not even notice that he had neuropathy. I just saw him happy. I saw him dancing. He's having fun. He's laughing. He's moving around. He's great. And I didn't want as much as a thank you. I didn't want him to get better. I know that sounds weird, right? I did not want him to get better. And what I mean by that is there was no thought of wanting. I just saw it. And also, there was also no thought of there's a problem. I didn't even notice a problem. So if I simply do that and I hold it, if you hold that for maybe 3.5 minutes, you check in with them, how's it going? Let's say that if their pain was a 10, you hold it for 3.5 minutes, maybe it goes down to a 9, and then you hold it for another 3.5 minutes, it drops way down to maybe a 4. You hold it for a few more minutes, it drops down to a 0. That's how it works. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to do it that way. There's another way to do it as well, and which we're going to do on this program for the people that are joining, which is we can do it through water. So if you have a bottle of water, you see this person in the bottle of water, or here, coffee, right? You don't need a bottle of water. You can use coffee. I don't know if I can show that on the TV, but there you go.
No plugging.
Over the name of coffee.
Or
this
chai.
good coffee.
Or herbal tea. Or peppermint tea.
You just take their cup of coffee and you imagine this coffee is lit up like the sun. Mm-hmm. It's so bright. And then they're in there and they're just blissful and happy and perfect. And then and you did the same thing, tip of the tongue was the roof of the mouth. You just see them that way, not wanting anything. There is no fear. There's no attachment to an outcome. The other thing I like to point out is that many people, right? Let's say that the person's got a tumor on the side of their neck, mm-hmm. and you're, oh my God, it's a tumor. Mm-hmm. This is going to be hard. I'm going to have to really do this up. Well, and they start, really focusing, and they're tensing up, and they're like, I'm going to will this thing. Willing it, right, will make it not work.
Yeah.
Right? Because that is wanting an effort.
Yeah.
So what I have your audience just imagine for a minute is imagine a banana, and then imagine they're peeling a banana. And then they imagine they're got an orange now, and imagine they're peeling an orange. Now it's that simple. If you feel anything more than the effort that you were using to imagine a banana and that you're peeling it, mm-hmm. then it's probably not going to work. Okay, so you do is am I making sense?
Oh yeah. It's deliberate creation one-on-one. But here's the thing. It's kind of taking the asking out of the equation, because most teachers of deliberate creation say ask, but we can't help but ask, because when we're sick, we're saying, oh God, I want to feel better. And that's the asking, that asking or that wanting is the first part of, and I'd say jumping out of a plane and breaking your body is another way of wanting. It's sort of like it's leading you in a direction of finding a solution, which is very third dimensional. Mm-hmm. But manifestation in the fourth dimension goes beyond wanting or asking.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
But, it's the allowing aspect, and the allowing aspect is the detachment to an outcome. It's the elimination of the striving, of the effort, of the wanting. It's the go to the beach and have a good time. It's like let the universe orchestrate the details. And this is the part that most people who are entrenched in 3D are having so much trouble with, because when you want something, letting go of wanting it and letting go of, that detachment part is the part that people have trouble with.
So there we go. Perfect. Thank you for that segue. Is what you can do on that is you let go of the attachment to an outcome. And all you do is just see it without asking, without wanting, just see how wonderful it is, and there is no feeling of wanting, and no feeling of wanting after the fact. Just let it go. This is how I see it. Hold the vision, keep the tip of the tongue to the roof of the mouth, and hold it for several minutes. And that's all you do. So our ego, if I feel, remember when I talked about the ego is wanting, thwarted wanting, and indifference, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want a new car. I'm driving this other car. I don't like it. That's thwarted wanting. I should be in this new car, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are going to be your deal killer, right? Because, and I'm no different than anybody else. People have asked me, hey, I want to use it to win the lottery. When I learned this and I did it to somebody else, and I literally made their back pain, the first one I did, back pain was an 8, and boom, it went to a 0. And the person had had it for something like several years. And I was like, wow, I'm going to get rich. I'm rich. So, I was like, man, there's some stuff that's going to be happening now, and it don't work. And the reason is because of wanting, right?
Yes,
I
wanting.
I want to win it. So there is your separation, right? So that's how it works.
I know we're right on 11 o'clock and people are joining us. Hi, Sherry.
Hi. Hello.
There's Mike. I'm just going to pause.
Well, first of all, thank you for doing this. And I'm going to call this an experiment. I've never actually done it over where I have this many people at one time, and we're going to try and do this all at the same time. So we'll see how it goes. But the first thing I'd like you to do is simply, number one, I don't want you to believe anything. And what I mean is that your discomfort is what it is. If it hurts and it's on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 10. I don't want you to believe that just because, I'm going to believe this thing and then it's going to go away. It is what it is. It hurts how it hurts, and just be honest that, it feels how it feels. So if it goes down, it goes down, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. But it's not. This has nothing to do with you believing anything. Does that make sense? This has nothing to do with your belief. It is what it is. So the very first thing I'm going to have you do is, if you have a piece of paper, just jot down, scale of 1 to 10. This is what it is right now. Yeah, I feel it hurts this bad. Okay. If you don't have a pad of paper, just make a mental note. This is how bad it is, right? It's an 8, it's a 10, it's a 5, whatever that might be. Okay. So I can't hear you. I assume that's intentional because we'd all be talking at the same time. So now everybody's they gauged their level of pain. Karen, you got your 2 young ones there, and they put it on a scale of 1 to 10 for themselves as well, I assume, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do this, and then we'll take the next step. So bear with me a minute here, okay? Okay, all right. So now what you're going to do is take 2 gulps of the water and then go walk around.
I just unmuted everybody, so the noise is gone.
Okay.
So you've done it to us, but you're going to show us how to do it to ourselves.
Correct.
And to others.
Correct. Okay. All right. So now go ahead and take 2 more gulps of water. And go walk to the far side of your house or wherever. Walk around your car, I guess.
Why are you asking people to walk around? What's the...
It seems to work a little bit better. It just gets into their system. For some reason, this is actually the fastest way. They don't have to. They literally could sit there, but it would just take a little bit longer. Maybe instead of it only being 5 minutes, maybe it's going to take 10 minutes or so.
Yeah. Hello, doggy. Where's the cat? Okay. Do you want to tell people?
Okay. Now, okay. So we'll go around the table here. First, we'll start with Nick. What was your number when you started, and what's your number now?
It'd be a 4 when I started, and it'd probably be going down to about a 2 to 1.
Okay.
Or a lot round, like, yeah, something's
okay. Okay. Thank you, Nick. Kelly, what number did you start at, and what number are you at now? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear. I'm sorry.
It was 5, and now it's a 0.
Okay. All right. And Mike Anderson?
It was a 5, and now it's a 2.
Okay. Brad Thornton?
Oh, hello. It was a 7, but now it's down to 6, so it's reduced a little bit.
Okay, good. Sherry?
Mine is a little bit different. I don't have pain. What I have Parkinson's, and so I have weakness and shakiness and everything that's associated with Parkinson's. So mine's a little bit more difficult. My assessment of it was I've had a very bad day. So today was about a 9. So still feeling it's slightly improved, but not dramatically so.
Okay, all right. There's some slight change.
Slight change, yes.
A slight, right? We
definitely.
Got 2. Jenny, I couldn't see you, but are you there? No? Okay. And Karen?
What about these girls? Did you have some pain? And do you want to be on camera? Doesn't want to be on camera. So what was the pain? 6, and what is it now? It's a 4. And what about you? 7. Now it's a 5.
Okay, good. Okay, so we're going to continue. We'll continue with this. Go ahead and take a few more. For anybody that's not a 0, if you're not a 0 yet, take 2 more gulps and walk around. And I want you to do the same thing. You're going to walk far and then come back, and you're going to do it again. So you're going to do this twice.
What I'd like to do, Bill, is to, rather than doing the healing on them, teach them how to do it on themselves. That was
great. Yeah,
that was the intention of this group gathering. Was
okay. I thought, okay, great. Well, I'll be happy to do that. We'll just I'll let them all come back, and then I'll teach them how to do this.
Well, finish it though. Let him finish it, Karen.
Oh yeah.
Let him finish what he's doing now. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So I've already actually done it. It's just a matter of drinking the water and giving it time. What I'm going to do now, because I was having you walk around because it kind of speeds it up. So as I'm speaking, go ahead and just continue to drink that water. Okay? You don't have to walk around anymore. And I'm just going to describe to you what I did and how to do it. Okay, is that everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. This, by the way, you don't have to walk around in order to get the benefit of this. Is just merely speeding it up a bit. So if you could just sit there and drink the water, and it'll do the exact same thing. Okay. So here's what I did: is basically there's a circuit of energy in your body. And to close the circuit, you take the tip of your tongue and put it to the roof of your mouth. Simple as that. And then what I do is I see you in your perfection. I don't want anything. I don't want to thank you. I don't want you to get better. And when I say want, there's the feeling of wanting, right? Like, you're not better and I want you, I'm going to will this to happen. There is no willing it to happen. I merely just see happy, blissful, and I'm unattached to an outcome. And that's it. I don't notice that you have a problem. I merely focus on, you're so happy, you're blissful, you're joyful. I don't put any effort into it. And what I mean by effort is the example I gave in the interview, and I like to give is, if you were to imagine a banana and then you were to imagine peeling a banana, you know how easy that is, right? You can imagine peeling a banana. That's pretty easy. There's no effort, right? It's just, there's a banana, I peeled it. You know? So there's not an efforting, right? So there's no effort. All I do is I just see you perfect. There's no effort. I just, I'm not afraid, of anything. Like right now, this is being recorded, right? It's going to be out on the internet and people are going to see this, the risk, right? The risk of me sitting here, it's like, who does that guy think he is? Jesus or something? Look at that fool. He had all these people up here and none of them got better, right? Well, there obviously I could have a bunch of fear, right, about that. I've never done a whole group over the internet before. So, it's a risk, but I had to let go of the fear of it not working, right? So looking like a jerk for eternity on the internet. So I don't fear anything and I don't want anything. All I do is see you as perfect, happy, blissful, joyful, and hold that intention and see you that way. And then because entering into the thing that is common between all of us, and that's love. And it's unconditional love, right? Unconditional just means unattached to an outcome. So how do I do this to myself is what everybody wants to know. And that's exact same way as I did it to you, is you merely let go of wanting and you just keep the tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth and see yourself in absolute perfection. And you have to hold that. Now, if I do it through water, maybe I can hold that vision for maybe a minute or two into the water. If I have no water and I'm just holding it, that vision of you, and it's going to take me somewhere around 7 minutes or so. So the water seems to be a heck of a lot faster, right? And for me to hold one vision for 7.5 minutes, and do one thing, right? That can be difficult for a lot of people. Not impossible, but you can train yourself and you can do it. I did it, so it's no big deal. I typically, you take a break, right, and you check in every once in a while, right? How's it going? Kind of like we did. I checked in with you and to see, how you were doing and say the pain go down. So that's the way in which you can actually do this for yourself. What I recommend is to go out and try it out on other people first, and then you know that it works, and then you can do it on yourself. As I mentioned before, many people go out and do this immediately on themselves, and it works. For me, I had to go out and do it on other people first before, where I got really, so I could narrow in and keep my mind in only seeing myself in bliss and perfect and not wanting anything better. My knee hurt or something like that, and I don't even think about it. There's nothing else except my perfection, right? Just like I do for other people. So you don't need water. You can do it through coffee. You can use ice cream. Some people might like an ice cream healing. It doesn't matter. You can use an orange, a mango. I love mangoes. You can use a mango. It doesn't matter. You can use anything, and you need nothing at all, right? I could just sit here and hold the vision, and it will happen. It's the other thing about this is, I know that the group wants to know how to manifest, and this is possible as well. It is once you can keep from the wanting, the thwarted wanting, and see the vision and hold it, tip of the tongue, the roof of the mouth, it'll happen. It's just the nature of who you are. There's nothing special about me. That's everyone can do this once they know how. So I'll stop talking. Thank you.
So, Bill.
Yes.
I think you need to hold the vision. How long do you need to hold the vision? If you're doing it on yourself, and as I said before, it's harder to do it on yourself. Like if you're in pain, to not want an outcome. So the whole crux of this is to not be attached to an outcome. It's to not even want to get better. It's just to hold the vision with no attachment. Yeah. Just seeing yourself as feeling out of pain or feeling healthy, let's say. Seeing yourself as healthy and whole and healed, but without even wanting it. That's
right. Yeah, you just happen. It's a hat. Let's call it a hat trick. The hat trick is I see bliss and perfection, and here's the critical, right, is not trying to make it better. If you have an issue, you're not even thinking about the issue. Like the tumor on the neck example, right? It's like, oh, I'm going to make it's a big tumor. I'm going to make it go away. Go here. Yes, go away. It won't go away. That's because I'm wanting it. I want it to go away. I think I can will it away, and it's just not going to work. So you're not even thinking about the pain anymore. Your mind has one focus, and that is, I see this vision of me in bliss, and it's just kind of like visualizing that banana. Oh wow, matter of fact, there's a banana, but it's really happy. It's so great. Simple as that. Does that make sense?
It does. Let me just change this view and unmute everybody, unmute all. Has anyone got any questions?
No?
Not a question, but with the water, I could feel the difference in the vibration in the water. So I could feel the healing, like the energy that you put into the water, Bill.
Oh, great. Thanks, Brad.
You're welcome.
So, Brad, how are you doing now that you had a few more minutes?
Pretty good. Yeah.
You were at, I think, a 7 or something when you started. And what are you at now?
I don't know. I couldn't put a number on it, but I feel a lot better. A lot better.
Okay.
The energy is much different.
Oh, okay. Good. All right. And kind of go around the table here. Mike, where did you start at, and where are you at now?
Started at 5.
Yep.
Now 1.
Okay. Kelly?
Yeah, I was a 5 and went down to a 0, so I still am a 0.
Okay. And Nick?
4 and a
You're about a what?
1.
About a 1. Okay. All right.
Just one. Do you have to visually see them for it to work, or you can do it remote?
You can do it remote. I do it over the phone. You know, I just you can even with people you haven't met, you kind of hear their voice, you know, and oh, you're in this city, you're in Kuala Lumpur, okay, and it's, you know, Joe Blow in Kuala Lumpur, okay, I can hear your voice, all right. You can just dial into them, you know, just imagine that bliss in their water. That's all.
You need their permission to do
You
it.
do not need their permission. You can, this is done as pure love, unconditional love, meaning there is no attachment, once again, to that outcome.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. And if you notice, you know, this was not a belief thing. I wasn't asking you to believe anything. And this is also very natural. Notice that the miraculous just happened, right? You went from you know, this level of pain to either that or nothing or whatever it is for you, but it all just feels so very, very natural. There is it's just light and easy and natural. It's not like, you know, a bunch of fireworks going off or anything like that. This is 100% natural. It's your God-given natural ability so that you can use yourself. And now you have the tools to do it.
So Bill, you actually put your intention into the water in front of you. Is that what you're doing? The intention goes into the water?
Yes.
They drink the water.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yep. And you just don't happen to have to concentrate for as long when you do it through the water. Water will have that intention for you.
So does the water somehow amplify the energy?
No, it doesn't amplify it. It just merely holds it.
Holds it. It just holds the intention. It holds the focus.
Well, it holds. What it does is it holds how you've programmed it. You set. This is how this is programmed, and it remembers, and then you drink it, and it does its job.
So it's just taking your focus off what is, which is I'm in pain, and putting it on a reality that you want. And when you put your focus on a reality that you want, like seeing you healed or in your bliss or in your happiness or in your joy, and you have no attachment to the outcome, bring that reality into reality. Manifestation 101. It's like bringing a new reality into the now. Is that right?
Yes. It is. You're creating a new reality.
Which we do all the time. Usually when we want something that we don't really care about if we have, we just go, wouldn't it be nice to have an ice cream? You kind of visualize yourself having an ice cream, and then someone comes to your house unexpected and says, I just thought I'd pop in, I bought some ice cream.
Yes, that's how it works. You know, I talked about some of the masters that I met and run into, and one of them is a woman. She's pushing, I guess she's got to be pushing 80 years old now. And this woman, this is only 2 weeks ago, but it's a daily occurrence. You know, when you know somebody who's run it, they're in the 4th dimension or 5th dimension, these things are just become commonplace. And it was very funny because I remember her telling me, oh yeah, my chair broke. I had some chairs broke, and you know what I really like is a maroon chair. I like maroon chairs. And she was like, she kind of saw herself, you know, decorating with maroon chairs. And within 2 hours, she got a phone call. This is just, you know, like I said, 2 weeks ago. 2 hours, she gets a phone call. Oh, hi, listen, you know, we're getting rid of these. We've got some new furniture coming in. Would you like some maroon chairs?
Yeah.
It's like, not a desk, not a new car, not a pair of salt shakers, not a new dress, not blue chairs, maroon chairs.
Yep.
Just craziness. So anyway, it is real, and you just experienced it today with your physical bodies. I like to do it first with the physical body because it's undeniable that the darn thing hurt. Now it doesn't hurt, or it hurts a lot less. So you're capable of doing this with emotional issues, and it also can be used for manifesting as well. You can alter your reality through jumping dimensions, from the third to the fourth dimension and beyond to the fifth, which we didn't get to talk about. Maybe we'll talk about that next time.
We'll talk about that next time. It is literally shifting dimensions, because as you said, the third dimension is all about wanting. I want this to get better. I want. And the fourth dimension is all about detachment, really. It's all about a knowing that you are the creator of your reality, and whatever you put your focus on becomes your reality. And so you alleviate the striving, the constant craving, the wanting by coming into that detachment from an outcome. Wanting something and letting it go because it's not important if you receive that outcome. It's just, wouldn't it be nice if, it feels good to think about. I'm going to think about this because it feels so good to think about that. And when you think about yourself in your bliss, maybe you could visualize yourself swimming in beautiful, blissful ocean, or doing something that is blissful, just enjoying yourself, having a good time, laughing with a friend. When you're indulging in your bliss without a wanting, that is the power of manifestation, is letting go of the attachment to an outcome.
Yes, it is. How much time do we have? More time, or how are we doing on time?
Well, I was going to end it there. Does anybody else? Let me just unmute everybody. So I'm muting people because I'm trying to get rid of the background noise on some people. Does anyone else have any more questions for Bill? Or are you going to go? You're going, Nick?
No. I just want to thank Bill. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, Nick. Thank you for participating.
Thank you.
And we got Andy down there. Hi, Andy. I know you've got your camera off. And
you was just in the car. That's why. Sorry. Driving along. I missed it, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, it'll be recorded. I'll pop it online. But Andy's working as a healer, and it'll be online. And we'll invite Bill back into the inner sanctum so we can spend a whole couple of hours with Bill.
Beautiful.
Questions and picking your brain, Bill. Picking your brain.
Oh, great. Well, next time what we'll deal with is bending time. So you won't ever be late for one of your appointments again. So once you understand the dimensions, levels of consciousness, you'll actually be able to manipulate time, which I know sounds crazy, and I wouldn't have believed it unless I actually did it and then taught it. And you can actually do this. It's super simple. So I'll leave that with it as a teaser for you for next time. But I look forward to sharing how to do that with you and hearing the stories after you do it. That's the fun part.
Was it you, Brad, that said that you had some ET friends that said that they wrap the light around them, they bend light around them? Was that you?
Yeah. One of the experiences that I had, they told me a whole bunch of information, but one of the things that they told me, or two of the things that they told me, was they bend the light around the craft to make it invisible. And they also bend the light around themselves to make themselves invisible, so they can interact, like they can be around people and people wouldn't see them.
Yeah. So, doing these miraculous sort of things is really buying into a knowing that it's possible, and not a wanting, a craving, is that possible? It's like, and that's what this whole healing was about. It's coming into this knowing and being outside of the questioning mind, and being in the knowing. That's what we're talking about. Yeah, Bill?
Oh, yes. Yes. It's getting outside of our ego, wanting, thwarted wanting, and indifference, and being a state where you're unattached to the outcome and just seeing this reality, whatever that is that you want to see.
All righty. Well, I think we might end it there. I've just unmuted everybody again, so we've got all that noise on the line again. Thanks, everyone, for joining in.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Thank you all
Bill.
so much for thank you. Thank you very much. Bye, everybody.
Karen, when will you have this on the internet?
I'll probably get it up tomorrow. I'll have to edit it tonight, and I'll get it up tomorrow.
Fine, not a problem at all. Okay.
Is this healing session here that we did and this sort of thing, is this going to be publicly available, or is this only for the
it's all
people?
Recorded.
Oh boy, here we go.
Hopefully it's all recorded.
I didn't know that. I was like, oh boy. Okay, there you go, everybody. It's real. It's real.
We lost Sherry though, but she can watch it later.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
But thanks everyone for joining us.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you for
Thank you.
So thank you again, Bill, for all that you do. And where can people find your events? What's your website?
Oh, thank you. It's billmckennaevents.com. There's a lot of posting that I do on The Only Lesson on Facebook. And my email address is theonlylesson@yahoo.com. And those are probably the best ways to check out stuff and different interviews and content and what have you.
And you also do, is it monthly sessions online, or you do them in person, don't you?
Yeah, most of the seminars are in person. I am organizing webinars, so people can go through kind of a training on here's the different dimensions, here's how you move in between them. Obviously, you learn how to efficiently do it. What I focus on in the seminars is how to move you up in a permanent basis into the fourth and fifth dimensions. So what does it take to do that? And that, part of that is kind of taking out the garbage, right? The garbage of my life and the old feelings and stuff and processes and stuff.
Absolutely.
So you can be permanently there in a state of co-creating.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again for being on the show. Blessings.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. That was wonderful.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
And remember, if you want to be a part of our little tribe in the Inner Sanctum, please join us, Karen Swain Inner Sanctum online. It's not expensive. It's like about $17 US a month, 22 Australian a month. And you get to meet some of my guests. And we have monthly webinars online talking about healing and ascension and bending light and bending time and deliberate creation and all that delicious stuff. Thanks again for joining me for another show, Accentuating the Positive. Bye for now.
Thanks so much for joining us for another enlightened conversation on Accentuate the Positive. If you would like spiritual guidance from my guides, Blissful Beings, go to KarenSwain.com for a reading, or to listen to more enlightened thought leaders share their wisdom. Go to the listen page on KarenSwain.com and choose who you want to listen to. All the podcasts are also available on iTunes. Remember to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, you name it, we're there. Until next time, bye for now.
Feel like that's what you want to do.